Recording in progress.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another awesome session from Mindful Living. We really appreciate your taking out the time and joining the session on a weekday. And your joining of session today is a clear demonstration of your intention to become a better parent. Our sessions at Mindful Living are guaranteed to improve your quality of life, and today's session is no exception. The session in the month of November have all been dedicated to celebrating of Children's Day. And we started the celebration by having a session on reparenting your inner child, which was conducted on 5th of November by Dr. Nupur Agrawal. In case you missed attending this session and would like to check it out, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mindful Living YouTube channel, the link of which we are sharing in the chat now. The second session was by Pariksha Rao, who is the founder and CEO of New on nutrition for teens. This session is also available on our YouTube channel. And yesterday we had a very interesting session on how to deal with teenage temper tantrums. And that brings us to an awesome session today on an awesome book, The Conscious Parent by Dr. Shefali Zabri. And this book is being presented by our very active member of Mindful Living community, Anamika. Anamika is a holistic well-being coach. She is an alumnus of the prestigious IIM Bangalore and has worked for 19 years in organizations like TCS, Deloitte, KPMG. She currently works with cancer patients and their caregivers, parents, and young adults. She's an internationally certified Heal Your Life teacher and a Reiki healer. She's trained in nutrition, physiology, grief, Bach flower remedies, and sleep therapy. She's also a dear friend and a very active member of Mindful Living community. So welcome, Anamika, to the session. Before I hand over to Anamika, I would like to know how many of you are joining the session for the first time. If you are joining a Mindful Living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box. Please type FT for first time if you're joining a Mindful Living session for the first time. Thank you, Mukta. I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector in senior management roles with organizations like Tata AIG, Future Generali, Marsh, HCL Healthcare, and Healthcare at Home. During the years of my working in the corporate career, I saw at close quarters how stressed the employees in the corporate sector are and how this stress is taking a toll on their health, happiness, and well-being. Being a certified mindfulness meditation teacher myself, I thought the message of living consciously needs to be taken to the corporates. And with the intention of impacting the lives of 1 million working professionals, I started Mindful Living in 2018. In the last 4 years, we have conducted over 300 sessions, impacting lives of over 10,000 employees in leading organizations that include Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, EXL, IBM, Swiggy, Signify, Airbnb, and many more. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living community, which started in April 2020 when the first lockdown happened. Few of my friends reached out to me to help them deal with the anxiety which the first lockdown was causing. And over a weekend, we conducted a mindfulness meditation session for them. One thing led to the other, and today we are a vibrant group of 3,000 people connecting regularly to practice mindful living. I would like to cordially invite you to join this community, the membership to which is complimentary. It's a very safe space to learn about living consciously. People don't judge each other, they respect each other, no political or religious messages, no good morning, good night messages. So the link to our community is being shared in the chat. Please click on the link and join our community to know about the awesome sessions we conduct every weekend. A few ground housekeeping rules. We are a small group today, so please keep your cameras on. This facilitates conversation, and parenting is a topic, which is better discussed face to face rather than behind the black tiles. And use the reactions button in the toolbar to clap, say thumbs up, show some love to to the content which Anamika is sharing with us. This is an awesome book. This book is like a Bible on parenting. So on that note, I would like to invite Anamika to take the session forward. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Anamika.
Okay, thank you so much, and welcome everybody. I see some familiar faces, Mukta and Kirti, and yeah, Mukta's meeting. Seeing you after a very long time. Okay, so as Ashish said, for me, reading this book, Conscious Parenting, was I can't even explain the experience. Okay, and I've been struggling to scope this presentation. I have half an hour and I don't know what I'm going to present. Some random thoughts, I put it down on a piece of paper and I'm going to try and share it with all of you. And after that, we will sort of have an open discussion. So let's see how it goes. So to parent perfectly is a mirage. There is no ideal parent and no ideal child. And this book, The Conscious Parent, underscores the challenges that are a natural part of raising a child, fully understanding that as parents, each of us tries to do the best we can with the resources we have. Our parents did that, their parents before that, and we continue to do that. So the objective part of this book is very surprising, okay? Is to show us how we might identify and capitalize on our emotional and spiritual lessons. Okay, we never look at it that way. At least I never looked at parenting as having emotional and spiritual lessons. But Shefali Sabri talks about the emotional and spiritual lessons that are inherent, she says, in the parenting process, so that we can use them not only for our own development, but as we develop ourselves, this results in our ability to parent more effectively. And as a part of this approach, we are asked to open ourselves up to the possibility that our imperfections may actually be our most valuable tool for change. So she starts with a very cute story about her and her daughter. And I'm going to start my this also with this. What I've done is I've got together some stories which I will share with you as the time permits. I have changed the names of the characters to be more Indian rather than American, because Shefali stays in America, so the names and the people she works with are more American. So I've sort of for people to more identify, I've done that. And I've also I'll probably at times when I see, I will share my personal journey as a parent. And you are free to do that. As Ashish said, you can put up your hand and we can invite you to speak about it. Or you keep a note of it and at the end of it, you can share. So apparently one morning, Shefali's daughter woke her up from sleep with great excitement. She said, the tooth fairy has left you an amazing present. So the tooth fairy is a very American concept, which, when they use their baby teeth, for those who don't know, you keep that tooth that has come out below your pillow, and then there is a gift by the tooth fairy the next day morning, just like there are gifts on Christmas. Santa Claus comes and gives gifts. Similarly here, the tooth fairy comes and gives a gift. So she says, the fairy has sent you a very nice gift. See what the tooth fairy has left you. See below your pillow. So she reached for under her pillow and found $1 note, which was torn in the middle exactly in half. My daughter said, this is what Shefali says, that the fairy left you $50. The other half is under daddy's pillow. So Shefali was speechless, she says, She was like, should I tell her that money doesn't grow on trees and that, money is very important and a dollar note is worthless if it is torn in half? But then she says that she realized that this was not the moment to respond to that. Because if she responded in that way, then she would be breaking the child's spirit. Thankfully, she says she chose to shelve those lessons and tell her how proud she was that she was willing to be so generous with her one and only $1. And also her fairness in sharing the dollar exactly half between mother and father. So no partiality at all. And that brings us to the fact that we are all raising, and I think all of us here are parents. If not, they will be parents. Or you have nieces and nephews whom you are pseudo parents too. You are raising a spirit throbbing with its own signature. And for all of you who haven't, you must read this poem by Khalil Gibran called On Children. It's very freely available on the internet. On Children by Khalil Gibran. It's like a total wake-up call. So Shefali says that parenthood gives us many instances in which we find ourselves in a battle between our mind and our heart. And that makes raising a child as if we are walking on a tightrope, on that rope on above. Because a single misplaced response from us can shrivel our child's spirit, while the right command can encourage them to soar. So in each moment, we choose, right? We choose. We know that we always have a choice, right? So we choose to make or break our child's spirit. The moment that the tooth fairy visited Shefali's bedroom, her daughter was not thinking about the value of money or whether her mother would be impressed she had shared her dollar equally. Neither was she worried that she might be waking her mother too early. She was simply being her wonderful creative self. She was joyously expressing her generosity and delighting her parents' discovery that a fairy had visited the parents for a change, not the child, because that's what usually the fairy does, right? So as a parent, we have to be present to the same longing, the same hope, the same capacity to delight. Like most of us, we tend to become so caught up in our own agenda that we miss the opportunity to further their spirit, to further their journey, right? We are conditioned to sermonize, to teach, and we are insensitive to the wondrous way in which the child reveals their own uniqueness and showing us that they are this unique being that is walking in the planet. So, we always want our children to be like us, right? Mini me. If we are super successful, then they also have to be super successful. If we are doctors, they have to be doctors. If we are artists, they also have to be artists. If we didn't do well in life and we struggled in life, then we will always live in the fear that our children will turn out like us. And we will do everything in our power to ward off such a possibility. We want what is best for our children. And in seeking to bring this about, we can forget that the most important issue is their right to be their own person. Because children carry a blueprint within them, their own storyline, their own destiny. And we are chosen as their parents to help them actualize it. Yeah, so we are there to actualize their storyline, not to impose ours on them. But Shefali brings out a very, and this is the crux of conscious parenting, that how can we listen to our children when we barely listen to ourselves? How can we feel their spirit and hear the beat of their heart if we don't do that to our own lives? Right? If we as parents lose our inner compass, is it a wonder that our children grow up directionless, grow up disconnected and discouraged? Because by losing our connect with our inner world, we cripple our ability to parent from our essential being in the way that conscious parenting demands, or demands is not the right word, but conscious parenting suggests, right? So let's get into some examples. Otherwise it become very sermonizing. I become sermonizing. Right? So let's take the story of story should I take? Okay, let's take the story of Veena. Veena and Arushi. Arushi is a friend of mine. Okay, and she tells the story of her mother Veena. Veena used to love to have guests to socialize. And the days the guests would come would be a grand affair in their house. The cutlery would come out, gold rimmed cutlery. There would be designing of the menu. Flowers would be there everywhere in the house. The house would be spick and span. There would be little tiny bulbs to light up the festivities. And her mother herself would go to the parlor and get her hair done and, wear a matching sari, etc., etc., etc. So everything very meticulously her mother would do for the people. And she said even the menu would be made in accordance to everybody's interests, right? Because there's so many people, whether they will eat this, not eat this, all that. The surprising thing was that Arushi's mother, when there were no guests on normal days, would be a wreck. The house would not be cleaned. She would not comb her hair properly or even take care of herself. And Arushi says that as young as 7 years old, she got the message that other people are more important, that I am not important, but when other people come home, I will do all this for them. Her mother taught this lesson, right? So mother did not want to teach her this lesson, obviously, but she taught her that unknowingly. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and share with you a story. My daughter I have an 18-year-old who is in a hostel in Pune. And about a month back, she cut herself, she cut her leg, and she got 8 stitches. She got 8 stitches at 10 p.m. on a Monday night. And on Tuesday at 8 a.m., she was in the class. She did classes from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I said, what the heck? What are you doing to yourself? You should have rested. You know what she told me? She said, Mama, you always taught me not to miss school. Come what may, we have to go to class. Right? And I have tears in my eyes even now. And I told myself, I didn't teach you how to take care of yourself. I only taught you how to go to school every day, come what may. Right? Little bit fever, little bit, cough and cold. No way, go to school. And see how it manifests, right? She did school, 10 p.m. was her 8 stitches. Okay, it would have been paining her very badly. I mean, all of you who have got stitches or anything like that, no. 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. she did classes because that's what her schedule was for the day. I will pause here. Anybody to share anything, any reflection? Any other story to share?
I would say, Anamika, you are a great mom. I think you did the right thing about instilling discipline in a child. And she's living it up now. I don't think she's lacking self-care, but it's a sense of duty, I think, so.
Yeah. No. So that's why I started with that, Ashish, right? That there is no ideal parent, there is no ideal child, right? But I'm just sharing that I wish I had told you that when you are in pain, when you are so sick, it's okay to, stay. And actually at the end of the term, one term is over, she was very proudly, came and told me, Mama, I have 100% attendance.
Wow. So, yeah. I hope she's doing okay now.
She's okay. Yeah, she's okay.
That's a great story.
Anybody? Anything?
They say like mother, like daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, I became a little choky when you told me this story. So yeah, children observe very, very minutely. You don't understand what they are learning from us.
Yeah. That's why they say that more than us telling them what to do, if we do that, then they will
Yeah.
start imbibing that behavior, or they will start doing that.
Yeah. So the only thing I can share is that I have a 14-year-old son, and with the content and the COVID, Netflix was given to him, and he's watching whatever he's watching. Although there's a profile for children, but you can go to my profile and watch what you want to watch. So as a child, we never used, as a family, we don't use F word, or even very rarely. My husband is very different. He doesn't use any Hindi abusive language or otherwise. You know how men are, sorry to be sexist, but
We forgive you. We forgive you.
so that kind of mahal, like my father is quite, I've heard a lot in my childhood. So when my husband doesn't speak, so it's not in the house. So now when I see a movie with him, now he's growing up and we watch some content which is age appropriate, and there's an F word over there, and or there's a scene in which I react with an F word, he will give me a look like this, as if I have done something.
Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Yeah. How can you say this? I said, I mean, you know what it is, and you know what are they saying. So what's the big deal about it? But he will make a big expression, and Papa is also sitting over here, and you are saying this. Don't say this. So I'm so happy. I'm in my heart, I'm happy, and then I will say sorry. And
of course.
we'll move on.
Yeah.
But
That's a great thing, actually. How many of us are able to say sorry to our children? Because children are supposed to be the lower. I mean, we are higher than our children,
in
right?
the hierarchy.
Yeah,
Yes.
how can we tell sorry to them?
Yeah.
But if you are wrong, I think that's the best thing to do. Tell sorry to them.
Yes. So that's all. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Mm.
Okay, so another story. This is a story of Anjali. She was one among 5 siblings and learned very early in life that her parents' attention was obviously divided among 5 of them. And so she tried to become a drama queen. She used to be louder than her siblings, even sometimes appearing crass, because whenever there was a aberration in her behavior, her parents gave her attention, right? Whatever, they scolded her, but she got that attention. Right? Sometimes she even took the role of a hypochondriac, claiming that she had this pain and that ache. But however hard she tried, the parents only had that much attention to give the 5 children. So Anjali grew up with so many grievances. When she grew up, she married a man who was, interested in making more money, etc. So she found herself as a single parent raising her son. And with no other receptacle for her emotions, her son became the center of her universe. She saw him as the one who would make her feel that special, that she longed for, right? She nurtured his wishes and groomed him to become the man she wished she had married, or become the man who she thought she would get a father as father figure. Okay? And actually Vijay's friends, her son friends, were quite envious of him because of all the attention that he received from his mother. Little realizing that Vijay felt anything but lucky because he was under so much pressure, right? He was expected to be the man his mother could not find in her own father or in her husband. And every time he thought of breaking free now, he used to feel guilty. And Anjali played the role of the martyr to the hilt. Anytime Vijay disagreed with her, she reminded him of all that she had done for him, how she had sacrificed for him, how she had dedicated her life to him, controlling him with tears and evocations of pity. And Vijay felt trapped. He wanted to study abroad, but he finally remained in the vicinity studying. He dated only those girls whom he knew his mother would approve of. He was a victim to her victimhood and a martyr to her martyrdom. And here again, I want to just say that many women, right, grow up with this aspect of the martyr role. We unconsciously, imbibe the belief that we are supposed to take care of others. And we draw a sense of purpose from doing so. And when this leaves us dissatisfied, we exaggerate this dissatisfaction to our advantage. So, because, if we own our own emotional state and take responsibility for it, it's very frightening. So we express ourselves as claiming that we are taking care of a person, all the while using them to feel valued. Our service is motivated by our own longing to fill our emptiness. Yeah. So I'm going to pause here again. All these stories I'm sharing with you struck a chord with me, and therefore I'm sharing with all of you. So my mother is a martyr. Okay, she derives great pleasure from being the victim. Oh, I can't do this, and I mean, she has had a difficult life. I know that. She's never taken care of herself, and now she has nothing within herself to fortify herself. And I detest that in her. Yeah, I detest that in her. I also journal. Okay, every day I journal what has gone through the day, what has triggered me, what I could do to be different. Until 2 years back, believe you me, there was many a times when I would catch myself telling my daughter, whenever she upset me, that all that I do for you, and this is how you treat me, this is how you talk to your mother. I'm repeating unconsciously the same things that I detest in my mother. We just said, right, we unconsciously imbibe. And the day I got more conscious about it, so that is what Shefali talks about it, to be conscious of what you are doing. The day I got conscious about it is the day I stopped. I'm sure it comes up somewhere or the other, but not as much as always hounding her. And actually, she gave it back to me once when she was 16 or something. Then what is this all the time you keep on saying, I did this for you, I did this for you. Don't do it, don't do it. Did I ask you to do it? You know, typically how children speak. I mean, I'm sure we have said that to our parents also. So it's just the same thing, it just struck me how we imbibe certain things unknowingly, and how if we are conscious, we can break this. Otherwise, I keep on doing that. My daughter also will keep on doing that. Her daughter will keep, whatever, daughter, son, child will keep on doing that. It becomes a legacy. It becomes a legacy of sorts. So if we are conscious, we can break that cycle. That is what I took from this story. Anybody to share anything or any reflection? Anything?
Hi, Anamika. I would like to, when you were mentioning that, you were repeating what your mother said. So on Mother's Day, I think this year, there was a joke. It was like a meme, you get these
Yes.
forward, where now that I have grown up kids, whenever I open my mouth, my mother comes out. So what event, sometimes it's so true what you said, that, there are certain things which come back to you from what your mother has said. And the same thing comes back probably what her mother has said. Like,
Yes.
growing up, and my mom used to be so busy in the mornings, getting us ready, dabba and everything, like the daily routine. And my grandmother used to land up calling at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, like right in the middle of, your busy day.
The busy morning, yeah.
And now that I have two girls, 11 and 8, and my
Lovely.
mother is retired and enjoying her retired life, and she lands up doing the same thing.
She'll call you at 8 o'clock, right?
Right. How are you? What are you doing? So it's like a cycle that we women invariably land up picking up from our parents and our mothers, especially because women are so into each other's lives, like especially our mothers, our grandmothers, our sisters. So I think this is so true. I completely agree with you on this.
Yeah. And if we are conscious, we can come out of it. Vaibhav, I'll come to you. I just want to share at this moment, that serenity prayer that is there, right? So this is a form of the serenity prayer, which says, it's the parents' prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept that my kids can be jerks, the courage to not scream at them constantly, and the wisdom to realize where they probably got it from. Yeah. So I'll put it up in the group for people to. And what you said, Janvi, is so true. I talked about my mother and me. My husband sometimes says that when my daughter is speaking, he can hear me speaking. You know, he says, "My God, I think it's you speaking." There she goes. Yeah, Weber. Let's hear from the men.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing the story and the great lesson of being conscious. So I think, as you rightly said, this consciousness and this mindful being. I think you are talking about being mindful. Am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
I,
absolutely.
yeah, that's the only answer of all the, because I think all this trouble and everything which comes through, it's a part of unconsciousness only.
Yes.
One point I just wanted to elaborate was that care part when you said, na,
Which
that
one?
care.
Care.
Yeah, so care part, you were telling something that when we care, we want to do it for our own sake, basically. Am I right? You said?
So it depends. Uh, if it is overpowering, then it is some need of ours that we want to fulfill. So, for example, if I'm always being overindulgent with my child, it's because I want something in return. I want the child to like me. I want the child to love me. I don't want the child to hate me for being a disciplinarian. Okay, and yes, it might change. I mean, that may not be the motivation all the time, but more often than not, that may be the psychologists say that is the motivation, because we are trying to fulfill that emptiness within us, and that is why we are being pleasers. Most children who are either bullies or pleasers are both trying to get their parents' attention or somebody's attention. Bullies means then they will get reprimanded, and pleasers means they will say, "Arey, beta ho to aisa, beti ho to aisa." So in either case, they are actually drawing attention to themselves. So this is a thing for everybody, that when you know about a bully, may not be your child, maybe somebody else's child, know that that child is crying for attention. It's crying for attention. And it is giving that same treatment to the child whom he is bullying as he's getting from somewhere else. It's just mirroring. It's just mirroring that behavior. Yeah, sorry, Weber, I went on some. Does that answer your question, or is there something else?
Yeah, so you have elaborated more. I wanted to know more about that. I think what you were talking about, the parent part caring the kid. The story said that, or your own story, that, you wanted that solace, you wanted to derive more solace from it, so you care. So I think I just wanted to understand that how much right or how much wrong it is to be like that.
Yeah. No, there's no right and wrong about it. Obviously, if you have to care for your child. There is no other option, right? That is your prime duty, your responsibility as a parent, to take care of your children. But what we're saying is to do it consciously. So one is, as we said, if the child has torn a 100 rupee note in half, how are you going to react? Most of us will give one tight rap. तुझे पता नहीं 100 रुपए है, what the heck are you doing with this 100 rupees? But what she's saying is to look at the sentiment with which the child is coming and honor that. Yeah, so it's not, we have to care, but we don't become over caring and ignore the child's faults, right? That is important. So along with care, we also need structure and discipline.
Yes.
That is very important, because otherwise the child doesn't know where to go. If we don't put boundaries, nobody knows where to be. Then they will go all over the place, and they will get lost. So boundaries are important.
So any story for boundaries she has said?
Yeah, there are stories for boundaries also, I think. In fact, there is a chapter on boundaries. Abhi nahi yaad aa raha hai, Vaibhav, I will send it to you later.
Yeah, एक boundary का भी share करना.
Definitely. अब पता नहीं मिलेगा कि नहीं, but Definitely मैं करूँगा. Definitely.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Any-
I also, I just, my name is Aditi, and I
Aditi,
just
yeah.
wanted to, yeah, I just wanted to, trying to say the same thing, that we should know our boundaries. That's the
Absolutely.
most important thing.
Absolutely.
Like care is, yeah, we are all, everybody, each and every parent are so caring for their kids. It's no, there is no question about it. We don't care. We care a lot.
Yes.
Nowadays, what's happening? Like we are having one or two, so we care a lot.
Yes.
So we should know our boundaries. Oh,
Yeah, that's
and that's the ignorance of, I don't know about others, but I'm talking about myself, that the ignorance that I myself don't know where my boundary is, how to do and what to do, where to stop. So how much care he or she needs, and how much intervention he or she needs. So
yeah.
that's the most important thing. I should know about.
Yes. So Aditi, have you been able to read the book? No, na?
No, not yet.
So I would strongly recommend at least all those who are attending the call to please read the book. It's
Sure.
I will not be able to capture the essence, in half an hour. There's so much in that. This.
Yeah.
And while we're talking, was not in my story, but it's just coming to my mind, so I'm sharing with you. So
Please.
sorry, you had anything else to say, Aditya? Are you?
No, nothing. You please share your story.
Yeah, so it's again, it's Shefali's story. She says she went to pick up her daughter from school, and the daughter said, "Okay, now let's go to the park." She said, "No, we can't go to the park. I have to go home. I have to make dinner, and Daddy will come, and I can't go to the park." So she said, "Okay, let's go to the library." She said, "What the heck? Yeah, I just told you we can't go anywhere, library or park or anywhere." The child said, "You're such a mean mother. You're such a horrible mother. What is this? You can't even take me to a park. You can't even do this." Shefali says, what do we do when our child says that you're a horrible mother? This is the gratitude you give to me for being your mother, for all that I do for you. And she sermonized, obviously, that what is this? You're not happy with whatever you have, this, that, this. And what happened in the bargain? That child's disappointment was not addressed only. The child was disappointed that she couldn't go to the park, she couldn't go anywhere. उसके बारे में तो बात ही नहीं की हमने. हम अपने, we started becoming our own. We just look at ourselves and what we are feeling. We get so caught up in that we are not able to do anything else. For me, it was once I started on this positive living journey. So anytime my daughter would come, I will say, "Oh, no problem. Oh, you got 5 out of 15, not a problem. Things will be okay." Now I don't do that. I first tell her, "Oh, I'm sure you're disappointed. I can understand your disappointment," because it's very important that we acknowledge that feeling they're having at that moment. When I say, "Oh, no problem, it's okay," it's called toxic positivity, actually, in today's parlance. So it's very important for us to acknowledge what they are feeling. And it is with anybody, right? If there's a death in somebody's family, we say, "Arey, don't bother, don't feel bad about it." And he's there, he or she is there with you always. No, at the moment I'm feeling very sad. So let me feel sad, let me cry. And then maybe I will, bounce back. But I have to be given that opportunity to grieve. And why we don't do that? Because we don't accept our own emotions, right? So I'm a coach, as Ashish said. So when I ask my coachees, for want of a better word, "How are you feeling today?" They will say, "I think that this is," I said, "I didn't ask you what you think. I asked you what you are feeling." Very difficult for people to say how they're feeling. And I would invite all of you to take some time, the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and at the end of the day, to do an emotional check-in. How am I feeling? And if you find it difficult to name your emotion, there is something called an emotional wheel, very easily available on the internet. Just say emotional wheel, and one wheel will come out with different emotions in it. That will help you. Then it has a core 7 or 8 emotions and then sub emotions and sub emotions. So you go core emotions, I'm feeling sad. Then you go to that particular segment of the circle and you can see, are you feeling devastated? Are you feeling whatever other adjectives are there? But do that. Maybe as a group we can do that, Ashish. What is your emotional check-in?
Absolutely. And I remember this. I had a boss and he was an American. And I think there these things started a little early than in India about the emotional awareness. So 20 years back, he would come and ask me this question on the floor of our office. Ashish, how are you feeling? And this is exactly what I said. I think, and he said, no. I'm asking you, how are you feeling? And it was so new to me, to get in touch with my feelings. But
yes.
then, I completely resonate. That's why but we should do that, to your point.
Yeah, some way of doing that.
Okay,
sorry, what did you say?
I'm saying body scan meditation is another great way to.
Absolutely. Okay, my last story for the day, when we were talking about, right, a bully or a achiever. So even bad behavior, right, is basically a search for our inherent goodness. So there's a story of Ajay who had a twin, okay, and he when he was 10 years old or something, he was sent to live with his grandparents. When he recalls that incident, he says, they just sent me. One day I was going to school and the next day my mom was packing my bags. She said I had a negative effect on my twin because I was too strong for him and he was developing a complex. So Ajay's mother assured him that this was going to be only for a few days. Go away to your grandmother's place until his twin found himself again. So she said, you're the strong one. You've always been, so you'll be fine. And these few months turned into a year, years. He says, Ajay says he saw his parents once a month. And whenever they saw him, they would say, your twin is doing better now. But then they would be off. Because he was strong, right? So he would be fine. But Ajay says, I never was. Why was I the one to go away? And from that day, he decided that he would no longer be the strong, okay person. He decided not to be the strong, okay person. So what did he do? He was just 12 years old, right? At that time, he started misbehaving. Again, to attract attention. Imagining that this would cause his parents to notice him in the same way that they did his twin. They would say, Acha, wo to abhi it's not strong anymore, and they would give it. But what happened? His behavior actually angered his parents more, right? And they actually tried to control him with threats that they would never take him back. And he just became worse. So from being the okay child, he actually became the bad child. And even today, he says, if I try to explain to my parents that I became a rebel, because that's the only way I could get their attention, they laugh at me. Right? So much of bad behavior is again a child screaming for help. It's not that its needs are not being met in the normal way, and that is why it is resorting to extreme forms of behavior. So if you have any such problems with your children, good to know what is it that's troubling them. So in this book, actually, she says that everybody is inherently good. Okay, and if there is something bad or something not correct in them, then you have to find out what it is. So I'm going to end my presentation by saying that we all want our children to be special because that makes us feel special. We want them to be Einstein or Michael Phelps or Julia Roberts, and we push them to excel in some activity or another. We want them not only to be good, but great, right? Because when our child says, oh, I got A, then it's a great thing for us. If our child has been accepted at Yale or Harvard, then that's something we brag about with our friends, right? And though our children, by the way, are not born with any of these worldly concerns, but they quickly learn. They quickly learn that they are measured by external criteria, by grades, by teachers' remarks. So how can we revel in our child's ordinariness? Can we find something special in the ordinary state of our children? Of course, parents will say, but we want to expose our children to the best of everything. What's wrong with that? Why shouldn't we send them to ballet class, to swimming class, or to tennis classes? That's not what is being said as a conscious parent. Okay. To encourage exploration is a way of honoring the child's being. What is being said is the importance of helping the child understand that their sense of worth is not in any way connected to their achievement. Okay? So I'm going to end by saying that you can highlight for your children the different ordinary moments, like the touch of the skin when you hold hands together, the quiet of the morning when you wake up, the warm rush of the water in the shower, the smell of laundry, fresh laundry has a special smell, the taste of their favorite foods. These are all ordinary moments which we can revel in along with them. The excitement of starting a new book, the smell of fresh dough, when you pass a bakery or a cake shop or a cookie shop, right? So think of ways in which you can make the ordinariness of your child into an extraordinary one. 8:47. Yes, Badal.
Thank you, Anamika, for a wonderful talk.
My pleasure.
There's one thing which is going on in my mind, a question. Has anyone explored if there is any difference between a Western model of parenting and an Indian way of parenting? Is there something like that? So I'm curious to know.
Sure, I'm not sure. There are some cultural differences. Ashish, you wanted to add something?
No, it's good. I think there might be, there is a lot of.
Yeah, if somebody has any insight, please do share. I can only see some cultural differences, like in the West, the parents sort of absolve. Let's not say absolve. It is not their responsibility to see that the child graduates, for example, right? In India, we would not think of letting our child go without graduation. Itna to karna hi hai. Uske baad tumhe jo karna hai, tum karo, right? And we all have savings for that. We all save to see that at least our child is a graduate. I think there is no such compunction also, right? No compulsion also of going to university. They start working or anything like that. So that's not there. Otherwise, I don't see, so like this, there are small differences, I guess, but as a unit, as the family as a unit, I don't see much difference. If you see movies, I know about American way of life or other ways of life through movies or through books, which I read very extensively. I think there everywhere the family unit is honored, is revered. So even if they go away, they all come back at Thanksgiving or at Christmas, or there's always that bonding that exists. Divorce is never a happy thing to happen in any family in any part of the world. I think it may be more acceptable if you are in India. We may say we are doing it for the child, actually doing more harm to the child than doing good by staying in that marriage. I guess these are I'm not too sure if there's any formal study done. If somebody knows about it, please to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on a lighter note here that there is no study, but I think in India and in Western countries, the difference is that maybe there it's only parenting, but here it's also grandparenting.
Well,
So as a traditionally we have living dadi dadaji and living with us, and as well chacha tau mama type of, because I was raised like that. So I had all relationships.
yes.
Yeah.
But they also say, Vaibhav, right, in that it it needs a village to bring up a child. Even in the Western cultures, that sentiment is there, that you need inputs from everybody. And I must share with everybody here that I was fortunate that I didn't have to leave my parents' home when I got married. My husband agreed to stay there, not as a ghar jawai, okay? We contributed to the expenses and everything we did. But he agreed. My brother was staying abroad and we had a 3-bedroom house. I'm still in that house, by the way. I still live in that house. And it was great for me to have my parents as my support system, because I could go anywhere, wherever I wanted, even when she was a child, because my mother would take care of her indoor activities and daddy would take her to her, active other classes and things like that. So yeah, I'm sure that uh, those influences are there. Yeah. Yeah, Mukta?
No, I'm saying, first of all, I'm not sure of the Western culture or American way of parenting, but presently I'm in London and we moved as a family 4 years
Okay.
ago.
Nice.
So my son was 10 and we were doing good, I believe. And then midlife crisis struck and we took a big jump in our career, in our life rather. And we moved to a new country altogether. Coming back to the parenting, so my son was 10 and he was a decent, kind child. And he used to get a little bit spanking back home also. As an Indian parent, everybody does that. But ever since we came here, he was told in his primary school that this is the number to be dialed if something happens. And sooner or later, he was 6 months in this country and he got hang of that thing, that children are not allowed to be beaten by their parents. And the moment that tempo of is building up, and mama, I will call the police.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
is one joke
Yeah.
that bring that seriousness. But apart from that, the family structure outside India is very different. That's my personal experience because I've never lived outside India before, never traveled, but never lived as a for a long stay. So the family structure is people are divorced. They are sometimes having stepfathers staying with them. Moms are away, single parents. Childcare is a big concern in this country, and people are struggling to cope with work, childcare, and health, mental health, and many other issues, physical health issues as well. So it's a different game. It's a different struggle altogether. So when you come from an Indian system values and you believe that I will be there for you, I will take care of you, and any trouble, anything, your parents are there. Sometimes parents are not there for children here. So they grow up very fast. They are very mature in their thought process. They answer the questions you ask. They answer very responsibly. They are very clear in their head that by the time they are 18, they have to be out of the house, earning by themselves, living by themselves,
Yes.
savings. So our children are still
Don't
babies.
have that. Yes.
Yeah, they're still babies. They don't have that sense of money or living on their own. I can't think.
And even when they start working, I've seen parents are still concerned. What will be the next career move? How will they, choose the next job? Yeah, we are always, so Indian parents don't stop parenting, Badal, if you want an answer. We don't stop parenting.
Yeah. And there are, by the way, to feel a little comfortable, there are other countries like my colleagues and peers, and then we talk as mother and talk as father to them. So South Africans also, they have this spanking business back home. But the moment you come in this country, everybody has to be step back and the way they talk in primary school, I've seen, they will explain, oh, so you're not feeling good about it. You don't want to sit with this child. So they talk about feelings, how you like me, you don't like me. You are not liking me at the moment because I did this to you. Will you be okay to sit with me tomorrow? Will you share the lunchbox with me? So they keep on elaborating on the emotion bit, and till the
So
time.
that's a good thing. That's a good
That's
thing.
a very, yeah. We were never चुप करके बैठ जाओ कोने में, जब दिमाग ठीक हो जाएगा तब आ जाना. That what we were told as a child, कि cool off, come back. And हम corner देने लग गए, go stand in the corner. But here they will talk it out. बोलो क्या हो रहा है, क्या हुआ. अच्छा, थोड़ा सा जूता लग गया क्लास में बैठे बैठे, ऐसे टच कर गया, मतलब बड़ा हंगामा हो गया कि भाई चोट लग गई और क्या हो गया, भगवान जाने क्या हो गया हमको ऐसा.
You intruded on my space.
My space. So छोटे छोटे बच्चों को, they have that sense of expressing them, and it has been acknowledged and accepted कि ऐसा नहीं कि छोटा बच्चा है तो चलो, but no, they will take it very seriously to a deep level, talk it out. घर पे क्या हो रहा है, why is he behaving like this, खाना खाया कि नहीं खाया, food allergies. So yeah,
so they are more, I think, more aware, if not anything else, I guess, a little more aware. And
yeah,
again, so
take it
we
very
are not
seriously. बच्चों को बहुत सीरियसली लेते हैं यहाँ पे.
हम लोग उतना नहीं देते हैं. हम लोग बच्चों को
हम कहते हैं बच्चे हो
वो इंफीरियर होते हैं, हमारे इसमें इंफीरियर लोग हैं, तो we don't treat them with the I wouldn't hesitate to say we don't treat them with the respect that they deserve sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, Vaibhav and Aditi, we come to you then.
Sorry, I'm taking too much time.
I'm conscious of the time. We have 4
Okay. Sorry. Ashish, I went overboard. Go ahead.
No, not overboard. It's a beautiful sharing by everybody. Really appreciate everybody sharing and coming up with questions. I think that was very beautiful. I would just like to take a couple of minutes and request you for your feedback. So we are sharing the link in the chat. Please take 30 seconds to fill out the feedback. That's very important for us. I'm sure you have appreciated the session, but to have your feedback will be good.
And once we do that, then Vaibhav and Aditi can share. Yes, Madhu, thanks for being here.
And I really appreciate, in fact, all of us should appreciate Anamika for taking our time. She is not in the best of the health, but she is, through warrior, she has come up.
Warrior, मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगता है नाम, because when we say warrior to a person who is not well, whom are we fighting? Our own bodies, nahi.
Whatever. We appreciate that, Anamika.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, Kirti. Taking time from your busy schedule as a doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aditi, you had something to share, right? Before we.
Yeah, please type FD feedback done once you have filled out the feedback.
Yeah,
thank you.
FD feedback done. That's nice.
Now can I speak? May I speak?
Yes.
Baba was like super quick.
So it was I think conscious parenting. One thing you spoke so much about it, and then Miss Mukta spoke so much. Sir Badal sir asked about very important question of Western and Indian, and then Miss Mukta telling us about what's happening in the other world. And for me, it was little frightening. And what I can see is the in the global scenario, that as a civilization we have only made it now. So if you talk about the Egyptian or Greece or Mesopotamian, any of these civilization, nothing has survived. So can we say that maybe we were good at parenting, and as a civilization we have made it this marathon of civilization race, we are only the survivors? So can we say that parenting has played a very important role for us all to survive, and today we can take leadership at global platform in parenting, and so that nations can thrive. And it is visible that our people are doing the global leadership. At global leadership platform also, our people are thriving. And I think they are examples now in the Western countries also. Like even now, the recent Rishi Sunak, he is the PM. So that kind of, the way we are bringing up our children and the way we are parenting, I think that a great role has been played by our ancestors in how to bring up a child and how to take care of your families and elders, and then family as a larger family also, not only limited to your very small mummy papa kind of family, but grow as an
Sure.
individual and build that relationship. And maybe that is why we are thriving in global platform now.
Absolutely. Our family structure and the family unit, the concept of that is very strong. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The only thing we have to remember is that there are also very lot of dysfunctional behaviors in families, and we have to just be careful about those, especially when we are with our children. That's it.
Yeah, cycle of improvement would be always there. But
Correct.
I was just connecting that most of the civilization has not made it so far. We
Sure.
have made it. So
Sure.
something good we are doing. Of course,
Of course, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. No doubt.
I
Yeah,
really
Aditi, as
appreciate,
the
sorry,
yeah, sorry.
I really appreciate what Vaibhav is saying. I sense, I haven't read many books on parenting, hardly anything, but I sense that the Western people, they have a lot of good, well written and well marketed literature, whereas in India, I don't think we have. So we tend to borrow that Western model and put it onto the Indian family system and parenting. That is a little bit of a concern. And we don't tend to value our own style of parenting. There might be so many good things about it. Like, for example, when we use the word martyrdom in motherhood, I feel that's a very Western concept, because a Western parents might be
No. There,
self-centered, career-oriented. Here, we are not so
no,
self-centered and
Badal.
career-oriented.
Martyrdom is very much alive in the Indian context. As I said, I live with one, and I see some signs of that in me as well. It is a woman's thing, nothing to do with working women, or in fact, I think it is more with homemakers than it is with working women, right? Actually. Anyway, and just to tell you that there are books on parenting and the family thing by Indian authors, much less, but there are very good books taking spirituality to this using the Gita for some things, and there are quite a few creative books on the family and parenting. We'll end it with a woman's voice. Aditi, your takeaway.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I liked the whole session a lot. It was like a brainstorming for me, and everything was nice. And from my end, what I wanted to add on this is like I have been raised by a very beautiful father, uh, who has always admired, and he was into the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and I had a joint family, not the bigger joint family, not the smaller joint family, like only Dada Dadi, no, like all the cousins, everybody is living
Chacha,
together.
chachi, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, all like family of, as you have said, it needs a village. We had a village,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
say that. So
yeah.
I have been raised, and my father was like that kind of a person of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And in Indian culture, as everybody was saying, parenting was not totally dependent upon the biological
Parents.
parents.
Ah,
Yeah, it was more related to your guru. Your guru is your parent, your everybody, your
correct.
neighbors, the neighborhood, as well as not only nowadays. It is becoming like these things are missing, and
Hmm,
it should be inculcated along with the parenting. Parenting is not focused about the two persons, those who are the biological parents. It's more about the way the Indian culture was, like neighbors, or the neighborhood, your uncle, auntie, chacha, chachi, everybody, and they used to give so much input in the upbringing of a child that
Mm.
the issues nowadays our kids are facing just because of wrong parenting, just because of we are leaving the way we were being raised.
Sure.
We are leaving that way, that Indianness. We are leaving that Indianness. So nowadays our kids are getting that issues, which
Yeah.
Mukta has said, in their country, in the country outside India, they are facing everything is good. Everything is like it's acceptable. If we are failing somewhere, we have to accept that. No,
Yes.
we should be open to this goodness of every culture. But our culture, what I feel is, our culture is the best. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. On that note,
thank
Ashish,
you.
let's end the session.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking out time and joining this session. Very interesting discussion, very different perspectives. And Anamika, I see you pouring in so much heart into this. Really appreciate you taking this up and sharing the wisdom with all of us. Thank you very much. Friends, all our sessions in December are going to be dedicated to celebration of Gita Mahotsav. Badal, I'm sure that's something going to resonate with you, the Indianness. So please be there and join us. If you have not joined the Mindful Living community, if you're watching this recording, we will have the link to join the Mindful Living community. Stay connected with us with the awesome sessions that we do to elevate the consciousness, elevate the quality of life, and become healthier, happier, and wealthier. Thank
And
you.
Ashish, just to say that the book for next month is called The
Yes.
Atheist Gets the Gita. So it is a book on people who don't believe. Basically, it's trying the scientific this, and we are going to have the authors in our session. So and it's a very thin book, not a very thick book. So I would say, and inexpensive book. So I would request all of you to buy it and read it so that the discussion becomes a little more interesting and more enriching. Thank you. Good night. And
Good night.
Thank you
see
so
you.
much,
Thanks,
Anamika.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.